Welcome to the Healthy Living Sessions podcast, where we talk about more than just health and fitness. We talk about many aspects of life. While fitness and health are important, there's more to life than just the gym. Have you ever wondered why, when you ask people for advice, that they tell you something so basic, so generic, and you want more than that? Well, the thing is, they can't give you more information than that. They don't know who you are. They don't know everything that you've been through, that you're going through right now, what's going on inside your head. They just tell you what they can. When you ask somebody, how did you get started? How do I go about doing whatever it may be? For instance, with my podcast, I asked a few guys, Tyler Harris, Ryan Alford, Andy Dane Carter. I asked these guys, how do I start a podcast? You know what they told me? Just start. And also when I was asking the question, they also mentioned about how I just answered my own question. There's no secret formula to getting started besides just starting. So if you ever wonder why you need to do something and why you're not getting that advice when you ask somebody how to do that thing, it's because there really isn't advice to give. You just have to do it and then figure it out from there. And I know that is so hard. Like my girlfriend, for instance, she has to plan things out very meticulously before she can move on to actually start doing something. And I'm the opposite way. Maybe not in the instance with this podcast, but now I'm just going after it after I kind of got that validation from those guys I mentioned. But most of the time I do just go after whatever I'm thinking about. I don't sit there and wait and really plan things out. I plan as I go. And that would be my advice to you on anything if you're trying to start something. But we're talking about seeking advice. When we seek advice, we get these vague answers, and it is so annoying. I can think back when I was single, all the years I'd be single or between girlfriends and stuff. When I was single, I was like, man, why can't I find somebody? And people would say, oh, it'll just happen, and you're like, it's so frustrating because that's really what it is. It just happens. It's not something you try and do, you try and find your way into. It just happens. And, that's exactly what happened every time I got into a relationship. It just kind of happened. Things kind of fell into place, and boom, I was in a relationship. So it's the same thing with life, guys. It's just going to happen. So make sure you're taking steps to do whatever you're trying to do, but don't sit there and keep seeking advice from others. Trying to get some instruction here and there is a good thing, but you trying to seek advice the whole time is not going to help. You're not going to get anything that you don't really know. I mean, now if you're trying to seek knowledge, that's different. Seeking advice on how to start, some generic, arbitrary reason, things that you may need, you're not going to find it because all you're doing is looking for an excuse of why you can't start. So instead of trying to find that excuse, go ahead and just get started, figure it out as you go along. And again, I know some of you aren't wired that way. It's not going to be easy to do that, but just come up with some generic rules and get going. You're going to have to figure it out as you go. And I know that's scary. I know you think you could crash and burn, but I promise God is on your side. He's going to make things happen. I can't tell you how much this whole process of me starting this podcast, me going into this new career, just everything just keeps lining up. I just put my trust in God. I had some, very generic plans of what I wanted to do, who I was going to talk to about trying to get some work on the side and all that stuff. And it just worked out. Like I was talking to a friend for about an hour yesterday, and he's really been supportive of me on the podcast. So shout out to Roderick, that's the friend I'm talking about. But he's been really supportive of me on this. And you know what? He was all like, dude, I got this guy, and this guy that I need to set you up with. They're totally trying to do the same thing. I think you would really like them. You need to get them on the podcast. And so we're trying to get that set up. And it's all just about going after something. Because I would have never gotten these connections if I wouldn't started doing this podcast. And so now here I am talking with other people about my podcast, talking with people soon about what they do, helping them out. They're going to help me out. And, we're collaborating. And this would have never happened if I wouldn't have taken any action. If I would have kept trying to seek advice from others, I could have easily said to those three guys that told me just get started, but I need more information. Where do I go? What do I do? It's all out there. As I starting the podcast, I YouTube stuff and found out the way to get things done. And that's the great thing about our time and age. Everything is on the internet, especially like on YouTube and, obviously Google. Google's got like everything, but you go to YouTube and you actually see a video tutorial of it, not just a Word document of how to get things done. So, everything is out there for you to figure out. There's nothing new that you're really creating that has not already been done. So go out and search for it, figure out what that is. And that kind of goes along with watching these guys that are mimicking in a way, not 100% mimic, but they are copying a lot of things that these other guys have done that are way more successful than them, and people are hating on them. I don't understand why you're going to hate on somebody trying to make themselves successful. So what if they're copying what somebody else is doing? At least they're taking that advice, which isn't directly the person doing better than them telling them that, but they are taking their example, which is advice itself, and applying it to their life. And yet you want to hate on them. I don't understand that. Advice can come from anywhere. It can come from direct words being an example, or it can come from people showing you through their actions. You guys need to stop thinking that you've got to figure this out on your own. Figuring it out on your own obviously isn't working for you if you're not in the place you want to be. So you need to go seek that advice from others and just go and make that action as well. Because a lot of times these people aren't going to give you that advice. They're going to show you through their actions. So watch what they're doing. Mimic what they're doing. Don't copycat them. Copy some of the things they're doing, but make it your own. Put your own spin on it. It's just like a copyright. Don't copyright them. Just figure out what they're doing. Figure out what you like of what they're doing. Pick and choose from different people if you want. You don't have to just copy one person, but I guarantee you trying to do the same stuff as them is going to make you so much better off. I've seen so many examples of it. Reading Gary Vaynerchuk's book, his last one, Crushing It. That one was a really good book, but he goes in there and talks about these people that did what he said, did exactly what he was doing, and now they are crushing it. They're doing so much better for themselves. So he's not mad at all because they took his advice. He put that advice out there. He put that example out there, and they went after it. So guys, you need to seek that advice, but you also don't need to seek it, because you trying to seek it most of the time is just so you don't have to do anything. So you need to make sure that you're seeking it for the right reasons in order to gain the knowledge, to understand what the next steps are, to look up to somebody, but not for an excuse. Trying to seek advice just for an excuse is not a reason. And I know you're going to say, well, I don't seek it for an excuse, but you really are. If you're trying to wait for that validation to do something, all they're going to say is like those guys told me, just start. It was a nice validation to get. I will admit that. But they were right. I just needed to start. I didn't need to think about what can happen if I don't get things going. Oh, all these things I need to learn. I'm learning them along the way. As y'all probably know from watching my first episodes, or listening to my first episodes rather, I was really bad, and I'm still getting better. I'm still mumbling over my words, stuff like that, kind of rambling on here and there, working on things and slowly getting this better. It'll probably take 100 podcasts before I sound really good like a lot of these other podcasters, but that's okay. The thing is, I'm actually doing something where you guys aren't. And I'm not here to boast about myself, but I want to let you know that you can make things happen too. You just have to start. Guys, please go out there. Please start. I promise you are going to be so much happier. I know for myself, I am so much happier now that I've started. It's really enlightening. It's really fun. I'm enjoying it. So if it's something you've been thinking about for a long time and you've just been trying to get that right advice, you think that they're just going to take you under their wing and show you the way, it's never going to happen. People that are successful want to be around other people that are successful. They don't want to be around people that are just waiting for them to show them the way. So if you want to get around more successful people, you first have to at least show that you have the desire, the heart, and the will to do what needs to be done. And if you can show all those things, people that are more successful are going to be more willing to help you out. Because until you start showing that you're doing something, they can't even help you out because this is all arbitrary. This is all something that's a myth. You're just saying, I want to start a podcast or I want to start going to the gym, stuff like that. But you're not showing any sign of you're doing good or you're doing bad. So until you start actually doing something, nobody can give you advice because you're not doing anything. So what advice do you give to somebody not doing something? It's like somebody asking me, hey, how do you bench press more? Well, I don't know. You just put more weight on. I don't know what to tell you because I don't know how you're eating. I don't know exactly how you're benching, how you're set up on that bench. I've got to see you go and do that bench. And once I see you doing that bench, then I can say, okay, form's really good. You just need to keep working at it. Eat some more so you get more calories in you. That way you have more energy and you can really push through and hit the heavier weight. But until I see you taking some kind of action, I can't help you out. And that's the same way with the successful people. They cannot help you out until you show them that you are doing something. Until you are making those errors, you can't be corrected and given the advice to do better. So you have to go out there and do it. So I cannot emphasize enough to start. Just start. And once you start, then you can get that advice. So stop seeking it before you have started something. Stop seeking the advice before you have started something. And go out there, start it, get going, learn how to succeed, learn how to fail, and then ask, how do I get over this hurdle? That is advice that people can help you out with. They can't help you out with, how do I get started? How do I do this? When you've never done it before. So make sure you're going out and getting started. Thank you all for listening to the podcast today. I hope it was impactful to you. If you feel you have a friend that can get value from this episode, share it with them. Also, please review and subscribe to this podcast. I can't get this message out without your help. Until next time, have a blessed and healthy day.